Hi, how are you? I'm Ray Borg. Thank you. I think it's a bit early to clap. You might want to wait until the end of the presentation to see if it's worthwhile clapping. I always start my bit about whether it's talking about profit or anything about business in regard to safety, because safety comes first. So if you're talking about profit, if you're working in a safe environment, your employees are safe, they know they're safe, generally you'll get a better profit result. So just remember that. If you are in business, think about safety first. So let's get on to profit. So I have 4 little points about profit. There is a little bit about sales, but I'm actually talking about a couple of bits of types of profit. So the first bit is about loss, because we don't talk about making losses, do we? Who hates making a loss? Everyone. But sometimes you need to make a loss. You might need to make a loss because you're just starting out and you might have a bit of a runway. How many people have been in that situation that 6 months into it, they're still making losses and they're just starting to make an action? That's called a strategic plan. You're strategically making a loss because you know you're building up. That's fine. It's those losses that you aren't aware of and also like, oh, what happened there? So be aware of that. So losing money is not a bad thing when you know that that's what you plan to do. Make sure it's a purpose, understand how long it's going to be in that situation, and when are you going to start making a profit. So be aware of that. The next thing I want to talk about is I call it a day in the balcony. You're thinking, what the hell's a day in the balcony? How many in this room are business owners and managers? Pretty much everyone. Yeah, good. Now, let me see how many hands go up. How many people spend one day a month looking at their business and away from their business? 1 hand, 2 hands. Okay. So a day in the balcony, if you take that at home and remember that, you get your monthly results. I hope you get your monthly results. So that day in the balcony is where you look at your business. You get away from the phone calls, you get away from your emails, and you look at seeing, why did my business make a profit this month? Or why did it make not as much profit this month? Lots of decisions get made during the course of a month, and it gives you a chance while you're sitting on the balcony, maybe with a glass of Chardonnay, maybe with some cheeses, which I hope to get to before they disappear, and look and see what all those decisions that you've made have impacted your business and how have your results achieved what you planned to do for the month. It's all right. That must be my time to quit. And how you're going to achieve your results for the rest of the year, because you might have had a great cracker of a month and it makes the rest of the year look good, or you might have had a real challenge. So how do you reforecast? The next piece is I call it little levers, percentage achievers. And what that means is a lot of people look at their business and go, I've got to improve my profit margin. It's 5% or it's 3%. How do I improve it? And they look for the big things. But if you look at the little levers in your business, those little levers can make such a huge difference. And each of the levers that you pull in your business can make a difference to that percentage point in the bottom line. So a couple of things I've listed here for those, because I think it's important, is your existing clients. Sometimes your existing clients have been with you for years and you haven't really changed their pricing. And they're sitting there and you look at it and they go, oh, that price is the same price I charged them 5 years ago. But as we know, over the last 12 months in particular, our costs of our materials, our insurances, all that's gone through. So have a look at those existing clients. And sometimes we're really scared to increase those prices, thinking, oh, if I increase his charge, I might lose him. But you've got to look at it. If you've got a client who's losing you money, why are you dealing with that client? Why are you investing that time and money on it? Same thing with your pricing structure. You might have a pricing structure that you have set. You've got to look at it on a regular basis. And sometimes you talk to business owners and say, when was the last time you looked at your price list? Oh, 2 years ago. Well, that's really good. What's your margin like? Oh, I'm really struggling with my profit. You wonder why. So make sure you've got a regular plan to look at your price list. Your staff are your biggest generators of profit. If your staff are engaged, they will improve your profit margins. Engagement of your staff really makes a difference to their productivity. Yes, HR, definitely, yes. So if you've really got engaged staff, it really makes a difference to your productivity. You know it. If you've got a really good boss, you'll do the extra mile. If you're not treated well, you're not engaged, you're going to rock up and go, huh? And that could cause you a whole heap of costs because they're not looking after your client base, and you may look after clients. And one thing that people don't think about is their suppliers. You really need engaged suppliers. If you've got an engaged supplier, there are clients, there are suppliers who will call you and let you know when the delivery's turning up. They will call you if there's an issue. You're not the one who's chasing them, trying to find out, where's my box of paper, for example, and it's wasting your time. And when was the last time you went to market? Sometimes you've got suppliers that you've had for years, and that price goes up a little bit. They're the ones that aren't afraid to put the prices up. And before you know it, you can just keep accepting the pricing. But you'll find that if you went to market, you might save yourself 10% or 5%. But that 5% is better in your pocket than your supplier's pocket. So make sure, at least on a regular annual basis, that you are looking at your supplier's pricing. And the last tip is a little line that I only learned last week from my sister-in-law when we were talking about business. And in her business, so I'm not going to take the line, is every decision they make, have this saying, bottom line up front. So remember that, bottom line up front. So every time you make a decision, the idea is, how does that impact my bottom line? So whether you, for example, you might want to add a new sales consultant to your business because you're getting a lot of inquiries. But if you think about it, putting a new sales consultant will cost you at least $120,000, if you're looking at a car, $130,000 up front before you even scratch the surface. So you're going to look at it, how does that impact my bottom line, and when will I convert that into a return on investment? Does your office do you need all that office space that you've had for the last 5 years when most of your staff are working from home, so that you can maybe cut your office space in half? So there are my 4 tips on improving your profit. Making losses are okay as long as you know why you're making losses and you plan for those losses. A day in the balcony, taking a day away from your office business every month, not once a quarter, once a year, or when the shit hits the fan. Look at your business. Little levers, 1% achievers. So look at those little things you can tweak in the business to make an improvement. And every decision you make, think about the bottom line up front. So thank you. Any questions? Still got